Bengal, Madras, and Bombay. Each was ruled by a governor. The supreme head of the administration was the Governor General. So you have to just learn these three names, that the British territories were broadly divided into administrative units called presidencies. And these three presidencies were Bengal, Madras, and Bombay. And each was ruled by a governor. And the supreme head of the administration was the Governor General. So Warren Hastings was the first Governor General who introduced several administrative reforms, notably in the sphere of justice. He also codified laws with the help of Hindu Pandits and Muslim Muftis in order to do justice as per the prevailing laws in India. He also established codes such as criminal code and civil code. In the next chapters of the that civics, political science, you will also learn about the judiciary system, the court, the system of court in India. So you can understand that the Britishers, they introduced the two types of courts in the India, and those were criminal code, that is also called Faujadari, and civil code, that was called Diwani, and also appointed collectors to collect revenue and maintain law and order. So today, whatever we are seeing all around us, the part of judiciary system, or the that how the administrator, or the how the administrative part works in all around India, that is given by the British only. So that is a good part of the British government. Now they felt the need of an army. So now they introduced the system of courts in India. So they introduced two courts, criminal court, that is Faujadari Adalat, that is the name of court in Hindi, and a civil court, that was Diwani Adalat. Maulvis and Hindu Pandits, they interpreted Indian laws for the European district collectors who presided over civil courts. The criminal courts were still under a Kaji and a Mufti, but under the supervisions of the collectors. So collectors look out the these civil court and the criminal courts. So the whole soul of the courts, or these courts were supervised by the collectors. So you can see here the assembly, the trial of Warren Hastings, painted by R.G. Pollard in 1789. That is the scenery. A major problem was that the Brahman Pandits gave different interpretations of local laws based on different schools of Dharma Shastra. To bring out uniformity in 1775, 11 Pandits were asked to compile a digest of Hindu laws. Digest means understand by a period of reflection. So they were asked to interpret all the it means that Hindu laws, and be held translated this digest into English. And by 1778, a code of Muslim laws was also compiled for the benefit of European judges. Under the Regulating Act of 1773, a new Supreme Court was established, while a court of appeal, the Sadar Nijamat Adalat, was also set up at Calcutta. So the Sadar Nijamat Adalat was set up at Calcutta. So you can see that the Indian district was the principal figure in an Indian district was the collector, and his main job was to collect revenue and taxes and maintain law and order in his district with the help of the judges, police officers, and darogas, means the inspectors. His office, the collectorate, became the new center of power and patronage that steadily replaced previous holders of authority. Patronage, that means granting favors or support, financial support, that is called the patronage. It means if someone, the main authority, support you with the money or other wealth. So that is called the patronage. Okay. The next or the last topic is the company army. The new British administration brought some new ideas of administration, but like any other administration, the power of Britishers was also dependent on a strong army. So, as you know, that if we want to rule over any of the country, which part should be more powerful? Our army, because an army is the strength of any of the country. If our army will be strengthened, then we can rule over any of the country. So they started recruiting Indian peasants and workers to their own army, just like the Mughal army that composed of sawars. Sawar, that is the soldiers on horseback, and pedal, foot soldiers, British army, and the pedal, that is also called the infantry. British army also had cavalry consisting of both sawars and pedals who were trained in archery and sword fighting. But with the passage of time, new warfare techniques were introduced, such as muskets. Muskets were the heavy guns, and matchlocks. Matchlocks, guns ignited by a match. There arose a need of developing new techniques among Indian soldiers with uniformity and discipline, which sometimes was against the community feelings of the Indian sepoys. Sepoys, that is called sipahi, that means soldier. This created a discontent among Indian soldiers, which in 1857 became one of the reasons of revolt against Britishers, which we will read in next chapter. So now you come to know that why I'm telling again and again, or the book is mentioning 1857, because that was a great revolt or the changeable time in Indian history. Because after 1857, the war for independence that was started. So first warfare that was started for independence, that was the 1857, and through that war, India or the Indian people, they believe in the freedom, and they started to protest against the British government. So that's why that is an important part of Indian history. So now in this topic, you can better understand that what we talked about the uniformity. Uniformity, you know, before the British, the Indian army was not uniformed. It means they were not supposed to practice for the just like the soldiers. They were not in a single uniform. It means that the uniform was not equal for all of them. After the that introducing the British army, whenever they recruit the Indian people, they started the uniformity among the Indian soldiers, and they regularly they started the practice for the soldiers, that they must be practice about the muskets. Muskets were the heavy guns, and they started different kinds of that practicing and the discipline among the company army. So all these uniformity, whatever we are looking today also, those are given by the British government. So as I said earlier, what did the sepoys feel? How did they react to the changes in their lives and their identity? That is their sense of who they are. The revolt of 1857 gives us a glimpse into the world of the sepoys, because the 1857 revolt was started by the soldiers. I think you know or you heard the name of Mangal Pandey. Okay, so he was the first soldier who started the revolt. Okay, who started the oppose of the British government, and rest of the thing we will read in chapter 5. So now I am going to unmute you all. If you are having any doubt, then you can ask me. Then after we will conduct a quiz. Okay. Okay. Now tell me if you are having any question. You can write in the chat box also.
मैम
हाँ yes बेटा.
मैम चैट बॉक्स का वो खोल दो
अभी
हम
अभी
लिख
open
सके
करेंगे.
जिससे
हाँ. Now
यस
I am
मैम
opening.
प्लीज ओपन करो यस मैम
Yes बेटा. Wait. Yes. Now that is open for you. Now write it there.
यस मैम
Beta, Samiksha, I have already sent the notes of this chapter in the, it means month of that previous month. Okay. Sawar, the people who, horsemen. Sawar means horsemen. Those soldiers who riding the horses, those are called the Sawar. Okay. Any another question or we will start the quiz? If you are having any question, then you can write in the chat box. Presidencies, those were the important places from where the English government started the rule. It means the main offices. Okay, presidencies, the main offices. I think you got that. Okay, shall we start? You have to write down the options in your chat box. Okay, so here is the first question. As you know, who was the last of the powerful Mughal rulers? 4 options are here. Yes. Okay. Aurangzeb. Yes. Very nice. Akanksha, Kirti, Muskan, Samiksha. Very good. Pranjal, Shiv, Mayank, Sakshi, Khushi, Shivam, Jangir. Okay. So let's check the answer, whether that is right or wrong. So this is the right answer. Correct. Okay. So here is the next question. In Queen Elizabeth granting the sole right to trade with the East, in which year she granted the sole right to trade to British East India Company? In which year? Okay, Mayank is saying A. Very nice. Bhavika 1600. That is A. Muskan A. Shiv. Then Daksh. Khushi Goyal. Okay. Nitin Tejas. Okay. Let's check the right answer. Just I have put tick mark and check the answer. Yes, that is the correct answer. Okay. Very nice. So here is the next question. With the charter from Queen Elizabeth, okay, I will read out the main question. How did mercantile trading companies in those days make profit? How did mercantile trading companies in those days make profit? You have studied in the previous session. Okay, Mayank is saying C, buying at high prices and selling at low. No, I think. Okay. But I just read out. Don't copy others. How did mercantile trading companies in those days make profit? Rohit is saying A. By excluding competition. Pranjal is saying A. Shiv is saying A. Okay. Almost all are saying A. So that's why I am just putting the tick mark on A. So check the right answer. Yes. By excluding competition. Excluding means to remove. Very nice. The next question is, all of you know the answer. Who discovered this sea route to India in 1498? Hurry up. Yes, beta. Muskan is saying A, Vasco da Gama. Okay, A. Very good, very nice. So, yes, check the answer. And the right answer is Vasco da Gama. Very nice. Yes, all of you have given the right answer. Now, next question is, what were the things? Okay, what were the things that all European companies wanted to buy from India? Now, give me the answer. Okay, Nitin, Daksh, then Rohit, Muskan, Kirti, Tanvi, Sakshi, all are saying A, cotton, silk, pepper, cloves, cardamom, and cinnamon. So let's check the right answer. And the right answer is, yes, all of you have given the right answer. And the last question is, in which year was the English factory set up? In which year the English factory was set up? Okay, Bhavika is saying second, 1647. Okay, Lokesh, Mayank, Divya, Manisha, then Ruchika. Okay, Shiv, Samiksha, 1647. So let's check the right answer. And the all of you have given the wrong answer. The right answer is 1651. In the previous session, I have told you again and again that in 1651, the first English factory was set up on the banks of the river Hooghly. So no problem. Almost you have given the right answer. Okay, very good. So now, if you are having any question, any doubt, then you can ask me.